A local developer is giving an old funeral home new life as a short term rental. Here to tell us about reanimating the historic mortuary is Eric Adler. He's the founder and CEO of Silver Street Management. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. And thanks for this project that you're working on because it sounds really interesting. I mean, you might realize it sounds a little bit like an elevator pitch for a horror movie, right? Uh,
Absolutely.
y-
Yeah, for sure. And that's kind of what we're going for to an extent is trying to connect with folks who enjoy the supernatural, the macabre, those type of things. So, folks who like ghost tours in St. Augustine, Savannah, who like to, watch horror movies like that. In part, that's sort of who we're going for as our potential guests.
is that you?
I believe it or not, so like some horror movies, but I don't absolutely adore them. It's not my favorite genre per se.
Are you a ghost tour guy?
I do like ghost tours.
Mhm.
They're super fun. I've gone on tons of them in St. Augustine, Key West, Savannah, some of my favorite cities in the southeast. And I Jacksonville, at least to my knowledge, really doesn't have that. So I think this might be maybe the first offering in our area that can speak to folks who enjoy that part of tourism, hospitality, etc.
And we could talk a little bit more about sort of that element, but let's talk about the history of this place because it is a really unique building. It's on Beaver Street in downtown Jacksonville. It's 110 years old and it is a former, undertaker. It was the Lawton Pratt Undertaking Company for a number of years, and it hasn't been closed all that long.
It hasn't. It was continually operating until the late 2000 teens as a mortuary, and the previous owner purchased it from the family. They attempted to redevelop it, ended up encountering some personal issues and not succeeding. I purchased the property along with several other partners in 2021 and have been working through the funding process from the city of Jacksonville, uh, construction, et cetera. And so now we're on the cusp of launching the property as a hospitality asset.
Yeah, and this is, I think, your first adaptive reuse project. So I mean, you're almost making the face. Tell us a little bit about the process. I'm sure it has not been free of headaches, but are you preserving historic elements to it? Is it on the National Register? What's the status?
Yes and yes. So my first larger adaptive reuse project, I've done some smaller residential renovations, et cetera. But at this scale, this is the first large. I call it my first big boy development project, if you will, and have combined a number of facets. So it is listed on the National List of Historic Places via the National Park Service. It is a full adaptive reuse, changing from mortuary to basically a hospitality asset. Essentially, what's now called an apart hotel, if you will. So 13 apartments, 8 studio apartments, 4 1 bedrooms, and a 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom apartment, but operated effectively as a hotel.
Mhm.
So I like to call it a fancy extended stay.
Yeah.
So you have full kitchenettes, washer dryers in every unit. A guest can stay with us for a night. They can stay with us for weeks. It really doesn't matter to us as long as they're willing to pay up hotel level prices for kind of eh, what effectively is an apartment.
Extended stay, not quite as extended stay as its former residence, but I get
It's very true. Well, yes and no. I will say, since it was a mortuary, they prepared folks for services, but then of course never folks didn't stay on site long term. So maybe in a sense, it is kind of similar.
like they eventually checked out.
They eventually checked out.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so this is I mean, it's an interesting project. Were you able to get some help in financing? Tell us a little bit about the cost of the build out and then also just how much it costs to acquire.
Yeah, so purchased the property for just shy of $650,000, which in hindsight seems to be pretty good. It's the cost for the construction is in total about 4 million
Wow.
around there. So yeah, very very expensive. Thankfully, the project wouldn't have been economically feasible if it hasn't been for the DIA funding. So really want to thank Steve Kelly and the rest of the team there who've been instrumental in making this happen. If honestly, without DIA's assistance, this wouldn't have been possible. It's taken a long time, high cost, especially given it's only about 10,000 square feet, so not a huge property.
Mhm.
So dollar square foot, I mean, it's like almost $400 a square foot, which is a lot for even an adaptive reuse project. But thanks to DIA, that's helped a lot. Also, we are going to get some credits from the National Park Service, will also help offset the costs a bit. So that has made it economically feasible. but it hasn't been easy. As you mentioned, this is my first real big boy development project. So I've done a bunch of different things at once. National Park Service, going through that whole process with them in terms of part one, part two, now part three approvals for the tax credits, working with DIA, getting permits from the city, working with the state to get access to Beaver Street for utility hookups. It's been a lot of hurdles that we've mostly overcome.
Had you known, would you do it again?
Um, Great question. I think yes, just because I've learned so much from it. So if anything, it's been an instrumental learning experience, but it hasn't been easy. There have been a lot of sleepless nights from this project. Definitely, gotten a couple wrinkles, I'm sure, and maybe the hairline and or is receded in gray hairs from this. But overall, I think it's a good project. I'm really happy with the outcome. It's absolutely stunning. I think guests are just going to adore it. It's super unique. There really is nothing like this in the First Coast area, maybe even the Southeast, and it might even be, one of the few properties like this in the entire United States.
I mean, I imagine it will get some traction in the media when it is fully underway. We should say it's on Beaver Street. It's sort of kitty corner from the Clara White Mission. It's behind the backside of the old Stanton High School. Um, and it's going to have some interesting amenities. I think you're planning a pool and kind of a rooftop lounge or some sort of, receiving area. Tell us a little bit though about what is preserved in this building, because the exterior is a neat old brick building. It's got the Lawton Pratt kind of, I don't know what you call it, tiling that spells out the
Signage, yep,
signage. Yeah.
effectively, yep. So yeah, so it's fully amenitized as a modern hospitality asset, but we are preserving a lot of the uniqueness and originality that gives it such amazing historic character. Examples include the gates to the hearse parking area, which we've cleaned up and put on fresh coats of paint and busted the rust, and we're going to be preserving those. That'll be the entrance to the restaurant. So at night the gates will be closed again, just like they were when it used to be hearse parking. And then during the day they'll be able to be open, and that actually be a seating area for restaurant guests. So we're going to have a restaurant on site. We have a fully built out space with a commercial hood, a grease trap, with Ansel firefighting system. I'm not a restaurateur, so I am looking for active tenants if anybody's interested in this amazing space. We're also going to we've built out the basement space, turning that into, it actually is kind of, speaking of a little creepy, but I think cool. It was the area where they prepare the bodies. So it was the original embalming area. And so that and again, I'm not a restaurateur, but if I were one, I might say, hey, look, that could be a really cool speakeasy style bar.
Mm.
And so we originally planned on a rooftop, but I ran out of money. So and I thought that making the basement a usable space would be a better use than a rooftop area. So that could be a future development at some
Okay.
point. We have the option to do that at some point in the future. Right now, we've kind of repurposed the money to build out the basement space.
Yeah.
So that's going to be really, really neat. There's a bunch of really cool old metal doors that we repurposed and we basically affixed to the walls. And so you see these 100-year-old metal doors that, like, some of the really barn doors that are popular nowadays, but we have affixed them to the walls as decorations.
Mhm.
We actually have the casket elevator on the second floor, which is a mechanical elevator that they use, basically a dumbwaiter for caskets.
Yeah.
And so the second floor is where they would build the caskets. So the second floor in the back area was the casket factory. The front area was the living quarters. And then the first area was the receiving area, the sanctuary, the hearse parking, and then the updated embalming area in the back, which happens to be one of the apartments. I won't say which one, but it's the only one with a concrete floor. So we actually we covered over the drain area, and it's really beautiful. We did a refresh the concrete. It's polished concrete. It's really pretty.
I mean, there are 13 rooms if I had to guess.
I I'll let it be a surprise, but it's our one apartment that does have the polished concrete floor, which is beautiful. It's a beautiful apartment. But that was this updated embalming area. The original one is in the basement.
We should say that for people who are watching our live stream, we've been showing some pictures of the historic structure as well as the renovated structure, which does look very spiffy. There's kind of these exposed walls that have been, painted. Everything is updated, but it looks like a very modern, Airbnb style hotel. Um, so you said you're still kind of looking for a partner in the restaurant side. Tell us what the build out timetable is for people to actually be able to stay there. What roughly the rates might be on a nightly basis, and then whether you need that restaurant component to actually open.
Great question. So, first of all, we're hoping to be operational in a month or two. So, we're really waiting on JEA connections. Everything else is almost complete. As you saw in the pictures, like the apartments are fully outfitted. We're just kind of, hanging paintings on the wall and making the beds at this point. So, we're days away from being ready in the interior. The courtyard, we're almost ready to start paving that, but that should take maybe 2 or 3 weeks to get that done. So really, once we have the connections from JEA, and I know they're working diligently with the Florida Department of Transportation because Beaver Street is owned by them to connect the water, sewer, and fire lines. So if anybody out there is with JEA, we'd love your help to get this thing moving. That's really all we have left, and then we'll be ready to go. The lights are on, internet's connected, HVAC is operational. We're ready to launch. We just got to get. I don't think guests want to stay with us and not be able to take a shower or shave in the
I'm
morning
guessing, yeah.
or use the toilets. So obviously we can't go live until that happens. But functionally, we're basically done with everything else. So
And
we're
cost?
at caustic. Sorry.
What will it cost
Oh,
roughly?
I'm sorry. Sorry. So we use dynamic pricing, so we don't have a set nightly rate, but generally rates should be probably for the smaller studios, probably 150 to 250 a night. The one bedrooms will probably be 200 to 300 a night, and probably 250 to 350 a night for the two-bedroom apartment. And that'll vary wildly. So, for instance, like September and January are typically the slowest seasons in Northeast Florida. You might get a significant discount there, but for Florida Georgia weekend, it would be way way higher than
I'm
that.
guessing there's gonna be some surge pricing on Halloween too. So, Eric Adler, good luck with the project. Thanks so much for coming by. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.